Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm Diana, and I am just bringing you this quick art exercise every day. It's a visual arts exercise to connect with creativity and help us to take hold of some thoughts and feelings that we might be having in this moment, in this unprecedented time. So if you don't know me, I am a solo artist and I use the creative arts to talk about mental health. My background is in performance. However, this is a visual arts exercise that I've learned to help manage depression and anxiety, and I thought that it might be useful for you. So with this, do have to say I am not a visual artist at all. This is something to take care of yourself. Hello, thank you for joining me. This is an exercise to help you take care of yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to look a certain way. It honestly just has to help you put whatever's happening in here and here onto the page. So with this exercise, what we're going to be doing is taking our piece of paper and we're going to be taking some coloring utensils. I use crayons, but you can really use whatever you want. You can use paints or markers or, I guess there are other mediums of coloring too that you can use if you want. Sometimes I just use a pen. It doesn't even have to use color. It can only use shape if that is what works for you. Yes, thank you. Thank you. You're awesome. What we're going to do is draw our thoughts and feelings as if they're weather. So is it cloudy in your inner world? It might be sunny in your inner world. Maybe that sun is a really hot sun and it's actually not very comfortable at all. Maybe there are tornadoes in your inner world, but they're very small tornadoes. Maybe the tornado, in past days, I've been drawing clouds, but I'm actually inside the cloud. So really, whatever works for you in your weather world, you can draw. And also, I will say you don't need to stick to weather. You can draw unicorns and butterflies if you want. It really is whatever works for you. Weather is just something to get you started because with thoughts and feelings, they can often seem very overwhelming. And to be asked to put a word or a shape to it actually does help us to process those feelings and to make them more manageable. But if it can also add a whole other layer of overwhelm if you're asked to then label what you're feeling, which is overwhelming. So this exercise helps you and has helped me to just put a color to it, and that then becomes the receptacle, if you will, or the symbolism, so that I can take the pressure off myself. And it kind of takes it all onto the page. Okay, so let's draw. There are a couple ways that you can check in with yourself. You can do it via a body scan if bodies are something that are comfortable for you. Some people don't like to go into the body. If you want to do a body scan, just start at the top of your head and then you're going to just take your awareness all the way through. And you can notice bits of yourself where you might be holding tension. Maybe there are bits that are tingling with excitement. Just as I did that, I do have, some nervous energy in my hands, but at the tip of my toes, it felt very bright and cheery, almost serendipitous. So the body, just like our emotions and our mind, the body has the ability to hold multiple different emotions all at once, just like weather. So you can do a body scan. You can check in with yourself just, in your head and be like, I'm feeling, You can do that. Or what I normally do, because I feel a lot often, is I look at my color palette and I just see what color brings my awareness to it. I just notice that. Oftentimes with emotions and feelings, if you just hover at the edge and notice them, give it some awareness, it can give you a lot of information. So I will look at my color palette and I'll just see whatever color brings my awareness to it, and I'll put it to the page, and I'll just trust myself that whatever comes out is information that I'm actually telling myself. So let's draw. Grab your piece of paper and your coloring utensils. Oh, I just jumbled the camera. Sorry about that. This is live. So take your coloring utensils And we're just going to draw our current thoughts and feelings in this moment, sitting here with you, as if it's weather. And what does that look like? Oh. Yeah. I think I'm going to stop there. Yes. So you can take more time if you want. It's really as much time as you are able to do or as you want to. Sometimes if you just want to do a flash of color across the page and that is it, and that encapsulates what you're thinking and feeling, then do. You can also do this with your children too. And it's a really interesting thing. I did this with a friend's daughter, and I also did it with my nephew. And it was really interesting because I was able to draw mine, and then I was able to use it as an interaction. So I could connect with my loved one. And also I found that in us drawing together, we were able to, first of all, connect, but also put in different elements of what we might be thinking and feeling, but also collectively having some understanding. And so it was a really interesting experience for me. I also felt that as I was drawing with my my friend's daughter and my nephew, I was able to maybe draw some things that I really was deeply feeling. But I didn't necessarily have to explain that to the little one that I was drawing with. I was able to privately take care of myself and give myself a receptacle to almost tell the secret to that to the page, if you will. I think I personally don't have children, but I would assume that with children it's quite difficult right now, and also don't always have the luxury of being in touch with what you're feeling because you're taking care of little ones. Thank you, Darcy. I know the camera is a mess. That's one of the things I really enjoy about this going live too, is that I'm a person that always I want everything to be perfect. And if it's not perfect, then it's very hard for me. But with this every day, I've been doing this for a number of days, and the days that I enjoy the most are when life throws some curveball in and it's totally messy and not perfect, and it almost in some ways is better. So I'm glad you say that. Thanks, Darcy. Okay, so let's see what we drew. I should show you this cat. I also show you a cat every day if you come play with me. Okay, so this is what I drew. So it was really interesting to me. I didn't know what I was thinking and feeling because I often don't. Often there are a number of emotions happening at once, and I will, be thinking one thing, and then I'll have a moment right before I hop on, and I have another big emotion, and emotions, they pop up, they go away. They pop up, they go away. And sometimes, though, if you do struggle with depression and anxiety, they can stay for a long period of time, which can be frustrating. So I didn't know what I was going to draw. And what I normally do now is I just trust the colors, and I just look at colors and what calls my attention to it, because I think that sometimes our minds can get in the way. So if I just trust my intuition, oftentimes that can be my best guide. So I started, I don't know where I started. I think I started with this. So I started with this blue, and I thought that I was on the interior of a cloud, but this was actually a giant raindrop. There have been pieces of this, this pandemic that might not necessarily be touching me right now, but I feel very deeply because it has in the past. And I was listening to a story about food shortages, and it's really very unfair, the situation, of course, economically that's happening. And so this is a giant raindrop, almost like a tear. For, yes, previous experiences I've had, but also people who are struggling right now. This picture is not always about me. A lot of times it's things I am thinking about or feeling universally or have felt in the past. So that's another thing with depression, anxiety, trauma recovery, mental health. Things don't have to necessarily be happening right now to affect you. And there's no time limit, and that's okay. If you're upset about something that happened 35 years ago, yeah, that's just as valid as if it happened 35 minutes ago. So this is the interior of a raindrop, but then I think these are either other drops or they're clouds. I'm not really sure. This one's the main one, though. I drew this orb, and one would think that that is the sun. However, it's not really. It's just a close-up of a golden orb that I have been drawing in the last few days, almost as a stabilizing factor. So it's almost as if these raindrops are falling onto the stabilizing factor to catch it. I find that often in my drawings, if I'm able to find solutions to things that might be distressing me, I can, even though it doesn't translate to the world, it's not like it's going to happen overnight to solve it, but it gives some solution, and maybe that's a place saver for future solutions. Then I went over here and I just picked up the orange. Or I might have started with this. I'm not quite sure. But I started just with this this outward motion, and it was really interesting to me because I thought that this would be a color of distress. I don't normally, I was going to say paint, but these are not paints. But I don't usually work with oranges. But this for me is a very powerful piece of the picture, and it's almost like a star bursting forth. It gives me a lot of excitement and hope, and I really love this part of the picture. I kind of just want to stare at it. And then as I was drawing, I drew another orb. And this orb was really fascinating to me because it was almost a connection between the two. And I got really excited and I got really hopeful, and I felt like this is almost a tunnel out. And I don't really know, of course, what is inside that orb. But I know that if I'm feeling distressed, or I'm feeling hopeless, or I'm feeling like there's no way out, I can kind of look at this picture, this piece of my picture, and I can be like, okay, I might not know how to get out right now, but I know it's there, and it's going to be there. So yeah, that's what I'm drawing today. I hope that you drew something as well, and I hope that you have great weather in your inner world and outside as well. This is the cat, if you want to see it. And please join me. I do this every day at 11 a.m. During stay-at-home orders, and it's just a way to connect with ourselves and hopefully process some really, different times. It's also sometimes something you can do with your partners and loved ones. There might be friction in the house, but it might just be because you both are experiencing different weather. So, okay, I hope everyone has a, is it day? I think it's day. I hope everyone has a day. And yeah, I'll see you all tomorrow. Okay, bye.